Welcome to WikiAfrica Hour, a monthly live broadcast airing the fresh perspectives of Africa's Wikimedians. It's a space where they share their work and knowledge and digest, through African realities, the global Wikimedia movement. WikiAfrica Hour, the voice of African Wikimedians.
Hi everyone, this is the second of the offline demonstrations that we're doing for OE Week as part of a special for WikiAfrica Hour. I'm Isla Haddo-Flood from Wiki in Africa, and we have Tim from Internet in a Box today with us. Tim, thank you for joining us. I know that you were part of the first WikiAfrica Hour that basically started this at the end of February. And a lot of people were like, well, we want to see these things happen. So that's why we're here. We wanted to thank you very much for being here. Do you want to share a little bit about who you are and how you're involved in, how you got started basically, and how you got involved in Internet in a Box?
Okay, well, I live in Toronto, Canada. I have a background in IT, and but also quite an interest in languages and other places. I've traveled fairly widely and actually studied Sanskrit once upon a time. So I got very interested in one laptop per child when that was happening. And they had a server for schools, but as time moved on, they weren't able to maintain it very well. So a group of volunteers got together and started working on that, and that evolved to eventually become Internet in the Box, though there's nothing left of what was one laptop per child in it. The name came from another person in San Diego. We liked the name, so he let us use it. In fact, he actually registered it as a trademark. And over time, working with other parties who are interested in providing content for education, principally to start with, such as Kiwix that you've heard from already. We think of ourselves more as an aggregator, so we take some of the practices and applications that are available, and we put them into one unit and we do that in a way that makes it really easy to, so you're not doing the Linux level command installs and things like that. You basically, it's a one-click install, and you can choose which of the many kinds of services and content rendering you want. Kiwix's Zims are one of them, but they're not the only one, and some are more interactive than others. And so I've been working on that for actually quite a long time. I'm one of the developers, and I've also been an implementer in some parts of the world, as Mexico and Haiti, to name a couple. And I've been a participator in helping people to come up with a curation for a number of places in Africa and other places around the world, Latin America, Middle East. I like to emphasize that Internet in a Box is not one thing. It can be a lot of different things, and I think of it as a curation. I think of there being curations that we start with that for people who are just getting started, and we have something which I call a quick pick, which will allow you to choose something like what somebody did before. So maybe you have a school in French, or you have a school in English or in Spanish. You can pick something that other people used for that just to get started. If you're a doctor and you're doing it for a clinic or something like that, you can pick that. And so that gives you a rough set of content and selection of services, but then you can go in, and you should go in conjunction with the people that are actually going to use Internet in a Box. Often the Internet in a Box is aimed for people who have little or no internet connection. So how do you set it up? Well, usually somebody sets it up who has an internet connection, and then they take it or send it to a place that doesn't have one. And so there's a collaboration that has to happen there. And I have been in the middle of those collaborations, and we tend to want to support that model of having somebody where there's a strong internet connection, because we are downloading gigs of content, and then putting them onto a little device that is standalone. I mean, the smallest one looks like that,
Okay.
and there's a bigger one that looks like that, and some people just use old PCs and things like that, which they repurpose. They put Linux on them, and then there's a one-line command that you can type, and it will literally build you an internet in a box on any. I won't say any, because we only support some of the Linux distributions, but we support the major ones.
So just to be clear, for people who are coming across this and have never really, don't know much about Wiki and don't know much about kind of like internet kind of options, Internet in a Box is actually the physical component, as well as the software that's been added to it, so like the library of knowledge books or whatever applications. Yeah,
I have in the past called it the Napster of Alexandria. It's the library, the world library that you can go find and install. Hopefully, all licensed, open licensed. But yeah, this is Internet in a Box as a piece of hardware. Now, I printed this 3D case for it, and that's available if somebody wants to print it. But you can also, I'll talk about later, where you can acquire something like this. So yes, it is a piece of hardware. It's actually a Raspberry Pi inside, if that means anything to you. It runs off a 5-volt normal phone kind of power supply. It has a built-in Wi-Fi, so it is technically a Wi-Fi hotspot, but it's not just a router that you can just connect to. It has all of the content stored in it, and that content, if I can hold this up, is stored on a micro SD card. So, and we used to ship 16 gig cards. Then we moved to 32. Then we moved to 128, and prices have gotten to where we can now, for a pretty reasonable cost, encourage people to get a 256. And when I say you're not really buying from us, if you do buy from us, which you can, we sell at cost. So the Wikipedia Foundation doesn't sell quite at cost, because they have overhead of that they have to cover. So, but if you were to go, you're quite welcome to find the Raspberry Pi on your own. There's lots of people who sell them, and we have instructions of how to put it together and how to go from buying bare hardware to having an internet in a box. But to put it simply, an internet in a box is a hotspot. It's a hotspot that you connect to with your phone or your laptop over Wi-Fi, and you have those devices. Though often it's put in a lab in a school, and that lab then has its own computers that connect to internet in a box for the content. So if they do other things that are on your individual computer, that's not us. You want to read the Wikipedia. Most of us do. I probably read a couple articles a day, because I get drawn into things and drill down and go down rat holes. But many people, if you want to read some article on the Wikipedia, you can bring up your phone or your laptop, connect over Wi-Fi to Internet in a Box, and with a home menu, click on it to get to the Wikipedia, and then you can use it kind of like you were attached over the public internet. And there are other things like that. Khan Academy, for example, which will help you learn math at various levels. Maps, other packages that have been scraped by various third parties that are of educational value or medical value. And so that whole bunch of stuff that will fit into 256 gigs for most people is there, available as soon as you connect with your device.
Okay, well, should we have a look at and see what it is? I'm going to bring up the screen, Internet in a Box.
Well, I apologize for this moving GIF up here. It was a decision. But this is actually a demo site, and it's I will provide the link to this later, because it's publicly available. It happens to be in my basement, but it's publicly available, and it's kind of a selection of different curations for different settings. So you can see, for example, the top one is a typical school teaching in English, and that's the one we'll look at. But there's also one for Spanish, there's one for French, there's a medical one, and then we get down into a couple, the Oaxaca in Mexico, and one from Uganda. So there's a few. If you were thinking about maybe implementing Internet in the Box, and you said, well, what content should I put on it? Here are some typical curations that you might consider. And some of these are actually a one-click on Internet in the Box. So the English, Spanish, and French and medical, those you can, I'll show in a little while when we get to the administration console, how you can just check one box and click a button, and it will go out and install all the services required and all the content that is defined for that particular curation. So let's drill down a little bit. I speak English, so I'm going to take the English one, and just have a quick look at some of the kinds of content that are typically on Internet in a Box. Again, none of them, we didn't build any of these things. We are aggregators. We include things. So Stefan probably showed you the Wikipedia. This is the Kiwix Zim Wikipedia, and you can navigate through it. It's the same Zim that Kiwix offers and uses in their hotspot, and you can choose any article, any of 6 million plus articles for the English Wikipedia. But if you're not teaching in English, then maybe you'll choose French or Spanish, or 170 other languages that the Wikipedia is available in, and also the other wikis. So again, it has the search capability, and it has basically an offline version, and we talked about that in the previous session, an offline version of the Wikipedia. So that's great, and there are thousands of these Kiwix supplied Wikimedia Foundation contents, not just Wikipedia, but Wiktionary and Voyage, all of them, and with all the languages, there are thousands of them. So and we tend to, on our menu, we show you the size. So if you can read that, it says that the size is 102 gigs. So when you decide to put the English Wikipedia onto your Internet in the Box, you've used up a good chunk. If you're at 256 gig, you've used up a good chunk, but you don't have to. First of all, if you're not interested in English, you don't have to at all. And second of all, Kiwix produces a top 1 million article version of this thing. So sometimes we choose that instead of the full Wikipedia.
So Tim, this is the version. If you had a school, this would be the version. So what else have you got here? You've got Wikipedia.
And then we've got Khan Academy. I don't know if people know what Khan Academy is. They're pretty well known. Salman Khan has created 8,000 odd videos in English, and they also exist in French and Spanish, and I think maybe some other. I believe actually we had an Arabic version as well. So these are instructional videos, and they started with math, but you can see here that there are various sciences and some things that are more, even arts and humanities. So, but I'm gonna take just let's just look at what it is. So let's say we're in what I would call an elementary school, a school for small children, and they want to learn arithmetic, and they want to learn addition and subtraction. And we'll just keep it basic. So now we get, or actually let's do this so now what we get here, once we've drilled down to the subject that we're interested in, and we can search as well to get more directly to these things, is a video, and I don't know if you'll get the audio, but it doesn't matter. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but this is
We have 3 different addition problems right over here. And what I want you to do so that you get the hang of things is to pause the video and try them on your own.
okay. I don't know if you heard the audio, but you can see the text. And so that there are, as I said, in English, there are 8,000 such videos that take one very narrow thing that a student might want to learn and show a video on it. And then the thing that Khan Academy has, and you can some people just show the video, but Khan Academy actually has quizzes as well. So we like to add that, and I think that's one of the things that Internet in the Box does well, is that for Khan Academy, so here's a question. I'm not going to try and do it, but if I type in 10, which is wrong, and check the answer, it says not correct yet, please try again. It will give me some hints and things like that. Anyway, this is for self-guided learning, maybe for in a homework type situation where someone is working on learning arithmetic. These are materials that can be used for that.
And it's not too, as a file, it's not too heavy because it has videos in it.
The entirety of English is about 40 gigs.
Oh, okay.
So all 8,000 videos together, they are compressed. So if you want the whole thing, but you don't actually have to have the whole thing. You don't have to have it in English either. You can have it in one of the other languages, which are smaller. And the installation that we have allows you to choose. I mean, you can see here, maybe you're teaching high school and you don't really need to teach anybody arithmetic anymore. So you want algebra, geometry, something like that. Maybe you're not doing calculus yet. So you can select just some of these topics. Maybe you're only interested in math, so you don't need the science, and you're not doing arts or any of those kinds of things. So you can cut that down, but still 8,000 videos into 40 gigs is fairly good. So in a 256 gig install, I think it's a good. Well, actually, here it says it's 45 gigs, so it's grown a little.
Okay. And then other elements that, as it's an education week, Open Education Week, it was just to see what other.
So Wiki we consider an educational resource, or actually it's a medical resource as well. The Khan Academy is clearly, and for geography, we have OpenStreetMap on here, and that's the whole world. We can come down to South Africa. Or for some, we could go up to Alexandria, for example. And it drills in at the lowest level. You don't have every street name, but you start to get into where you have, it's not Google Maps, but it does have a fair amount of detail for looking at more as a study of geography, I think, and learning where things are in the world than for navigation. I don't think anybody would drive a car and try to use this, but for again, as an educational tool to be able to know the world, I think it's good for that. The other thing that's interesting about it is you'll notice Alexandria is written in Roman characters, but it's also written in Arabic, and all of the place names are typically written in Roman letters and in whatever language applies to that locale.
That's fantastic. I mean, OpenStreetMaps is an amazing project, so it's great that it can be also put on here. So.
And again, it's a little bit pricey in terms of the amount of storage. If you take the whole world at the best resolution that we offer, you'll be at about 80 gigs. But we give you the ability. Most places that install Internet in a Box intend it for one location, and so you can get a low resolution for the whole world and high resolution only for particular regions. And I'll show how to do that in in the admin console
Okay.
in a little while. Then after that, we get down to kind of two classes of things. Ones that are more do-it-yourself. For example, Calibri Web is basically your own library. So you can add your own PDFs or documents or images to this to build your own material. If you're teaching and you have your own materials, this is a home for them. It's not something where you're downloading scraped or pre-curated content. It's actually a place to store materials that you have, and you can add metadata to them so they're searchable and things like that. Some work has been done on this to add videos to it, videos that you can get from YouTube. So in addition to kind of textual material, there's also video material. But again, this is other people, or yours or other people's content that you want to add. Then Blocky Games is kind of an interactive item. And then there are a lot of, African Storybook is actually a website. Somebody went and scraped that website and put all the files into a package, and that is stored actually. The OER2Go/Rachel project stored a lot of those, and we have a catalog to that, and you can again go in and check. If you wanted the African Storybook, for example, if in the admin console, you'll be able to check a button and check a checkbox and click a button, and it'll go get that for you and put it onto your onto the menu and into your Internet in the Box. And there again, there are not thousands of these, but there are certainly more than 100, somewhere between 100 and 200 of these other types of content that I'll just scroll down through, and they're everything from small children materials to more algebra. These are the documentations for a robotics project that they have quite inexpensive robotics. A lot of people like the California kindergarten to 12, grade 12 textbooks. I don't know. There's quite a lot of these. I was looking for the FET one, which is kind of fun if it's on here and it works. Let's see if this works. So this is a simulation that teaches different physics, concepts, and so it's not all just read it type of material. There's interactive material. A lot of people like interactive material in an educational context. Yeah. So we do include some of that, and there's other things that are on here that there's WikiHow. It's quite popular, and then we came by the Nextcloud, which is another way of putting all of your own content into a repository that you put together. So it's not something that Kiwigs put together or somebody scraped or maps or anything like that. You can, if you have your own PDFs or other kinds of material.
Okay, so your own, yeah.
A teacher, and with Nextcloud, you can break it into classes. You can actually enroll people in it. It can be you can have a login for different students so that they can see different types. It's basically a content management system, which is quite usable by schools. And then at the bottom of the list, if you've got a bunch of material that you would like to use in your classroom and it's on a USB, you can just plug that USB into Internet in the Box. They have USB sockets. The hardware has USB sockets, and then when you click on this menu item, it will open up whatever's in there, and so
you can add new content to
exactly
to whatever your local stuff is.
Yeah, so it's yet another way to add your own PDF handouts or photos or whatever you want for a particular course. You just put it on a USB, plug it in, and Internet in a Box will sense that. You if you want more security on it, like you don't want to share the grades of everybody that happens to be on that PDF USB as well, you can. There are some reserved names for directories, and you only put into that, and it'll only share those directories, or you can share the whole thing. It's your choice, and there'll be a menu here, and if you click on that, it'll bring up a list of all the content that's on there, and then students can click on that and download or view whatever you intend to do with that. Okay, so I just want to do, where is this? We've mostly focused on content. I just want to highlight, if I can pull off of this other document.
So I think earlier you were talking about that they can be curated as well. I mean, obviously, you just said that you can put your own content on, but that they can be curated for specific cases.
Well, curation to me means selecting content, and
yes,
so anyone can do that. And I will show you I'll show you when we get to the admin console exactly how you pick the content that you want. And usually you would do it in conjunction with the people who are going to be using it. So one of the so we mentioned Kiwix as being one of the components of Internet in a Box. Another component, which is in some ways similar to Kiwix, is called Colibri, and this is their catalog. So you can, and you'll see there's a lot of overlap because there's some content everybody likes. So they've got Khan Academy on it as well. They've got the FET that I showed before. But Colibri is yet another way of getting a collection of content onto Internet in a Box. You would go to the Colibri. In this case, you use their tool to get that content, and their tool will actually do the import for you. So and Colibri itself is running on Internet in a Box, or can be if you choose. There's no Internet in a Box that is the true one or only one. They're all whatever you set up, but often people do include Colibri, and you can go to them to get a whole other set of, I don't know if there's thousands, but there's certainly hundreds of content, of pieces of content that you can get. And then one other third party that I just want to mention is Nextcloud, and I didn't share the I'll share that link with you. So we should share the link to this. I won't go through this. It's a whole application that's basically tried to give you the equivalent of cloud storage for your content without needing a cloud in the internet. So a cloud-like experience is implemented for offline, and so we have that on Internet in a Box again as an option that you can install on Internet in a Box. And they have some nice features in that they have a drag and drop interface on phones and things like that. So you can actually put an app on phones, and people can move content back and forth between the server and the phone using a drag and drop type interface. So it's quite a powerful application, and you can put it on, and then all we do for you is put it on, then you log into it and set it up the way you want it as part of your implementation for a place that you want to go. The other thing I want to, yep.
Sorry. So Nextcloud and Calibri are kind of like the kind of interface, like the operating system for
They're not an
the
operating system. The operating system is
But I
Linux,
mean,
and that's their applications.
so the applications for
I would call
consuming
Kiwix.
content.
Kiwix is an application that renders or shows wiki material. These are other applications that we also install. Calibri is one that renders or shows content, but not wiki content, other content.
Yeah.
And this one shows any content you like. In a way, it's like Calibri Web, where you upload your own content, but it's a different app for doing that. So you can think of, we call them services, but you can really think of them as apps. Internet in a Box is a bunch of apps that can show content. One of them is Kiwix. Another one is Calibri. Khan Academy is really another app that can show content.
Yeah.
And then there are some that are more interactive, and some are more just show me content, and some are more let me interact with content and have more control over what goes there. With wiki content, you get the wiki or you don't. With this stuff, you put your own stuff into an app that is that the app is there on Internet in a Box, but you decide what to do with it.
You can load it. Okay.
Yeah.
Or you can add to it. All right.
Yeah.
That's great.
And then I just want to mention one other app, which you will be very familiar with, and that's MediaWiki. So you can, in fact, by checking a box and clicking a button, install MediaWiki on Internet in a Box. And in fact, if you want, most people don't, but if you want, you can actually make that the home page of Internet in a Box. So there's a built-in home page that I showed, I showed before. This is the built-in home page, but you can configure Internet in a Box to use WordPress or MediaWiki as your home page. But even if you don't make that the home page, having the ability to create for your school schedules or policies or just information on the country you're in that isn't found anywhere else, or your location, MediaWiki is a great place to do it. And also, I think, as you know, if you want to learn how to edit articles, then this would be a way to do it. We spoke to Florence about putting Wikifundi into Internet in a Box, and that hasn't happened, but it certainly would be a possibility because
those conversations are still going. We do want to start them again.
Yeah, so we do have MediaWiki as an easy install.
Yeah, just for those people who don't know what Wikifundi is, it's basically one of these apps, but it's a MediaWiki version, but it's kind of like a curated how to get how to do. You can essentially, it puts the interface of Wikipedia so that you can create your own articles offline, and then once you've worked on those articles and you think they're great, you can then take them off and then put them onto the onto the online version. So that's what that is. But sorry, Tim, you carry on with Internet in a Box.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great thing, and there are people who use MediaWiki. They don't use Wiki. Nobody is at this time using Wikifundi, but there are people who use MediaWiki in their Internet in a Box installs. So now I'd like to just show a couple curations. We won't drill down on them the way we did with that one, but this is one that was done for Congo. For RDC.
And what's the context of the Congo thing? Is it a school or is it?
It was a school, yeah. I don't recall actually where. There've been a couple, and I don't remember exactly where this was. But yes, it was a school, so instruction was in French, and so started with the Wikipedia in French, and then added a couple Wikipedias in other languages that they dealt with, Swahili. And you'll notice that, again, a lot of the things we've seen already, but notice that for the OpenStreetMap, the title and the description now in French. For Khan Academy, same thing. So, and when you, for example, download the Wikipedia in French, Internet in a Box knows what a menu item for that should look like, and it puts that onto the menu for you, and you can move it around, but puts it on there. And same with these others. There are French versions. So here we've got Wiktionary in a couple languages as well. This is heavily on Wikimedia materials, but I showed FET before, so here's FET in French, Wikiversity, Wikivoyage, Gutenberg. Project Gutenberg is quite well known and popular as a set of kind of classic literature. This is the French version of that. And then, I don't know, other stuff. Here's the insert a USB, but this time it's in French. So, so this is a curation for use in a particular location. And then I'll show another one.
Sorry, Tim, I'm not sure if we might have missed a minute of the last thing. I don't know if you want to just repeat that just for in case there was a bit of...
You hear USB in French?
No, I didn't hear that.
Okay, so I was just mentioning that here at the bottom is the same insert a USB prompt or link, but it's in French.
Okay, fantastic. So it has the same functionality.
Yeah. Again, the functionality is there, but this is targeted at a French-speaking school.
Okay, and you've got and an Arabic version as well.
Exactly. So this was originally curated for the Bekaa refugee camp in Lebanon, and so we selected. There's some content on here that was actually developed in Lebanon, but a lot of it is your standard, Wikipedia and Wiktionary and so on. But there's a Khan in English, I think. There's a Khan in Arabic actually as well. But then in addition, they wanted English instruction in addition to the Arabic instruction. So we've got then the standard things in English. There's one called Wikipedia for Schools. I don't know if people know that. This was a compilation of 6,000 articles, kind of rewritten for smaller children and sanitized for smaller children. And there's some medical. I mean, we've seen a lot of these before. They wanted them. Hesperian Health Guides is another one that people like. And then let me just a couple more actual examples. This is another, I think this was in Uganda. It's another curation. Again, a lot of the same things. People tend to, it's often the case that people are not sure what to do, so they go back to what people have done before.
And I suppose it depends on whether, like, the age of the children, whether you have like the projects or the higher education stuff.
Yeah, 100%. So then, through the collaboration with James Heilman, we branched out into medicine as well. So originally, this was an educational project coming from one laptop per child, but over the number of years, we've made a medical version. Medical version is really only in English, but so it has the MD Wiki, which the Wiki Project Med's website version of the Wikipedia, of the medical Wikipedia, which has some things that the English Wikipedia doesn't have. It has more on drugs. It has some videos that weren't allowed there.
Okay.
And then
that is more for the
this,
more for medical staff.
yeah, this is for doctors, clinical staff.
Cool.
It's been used in clinics.
Yeah.
And again, people will tend to use the smaller device because they don't have a whole classroom of students. They might, the smaller device is really meant for 10 people or less, and that works in a clinic situation. And there's actually a video that was done by one of I mentioned the person who had gone to Dominican Republic, and he talked about how he had used this material. But in addition to the wiki stuff, the MD Wiki, there are a number of scrapings, most of them done by me, actually. But so there's a website that has the global emergency medicine. It has a lot of materials. This is just for emergency. What do you do if you're first on the scene? Things like that. Stats Pearl is a U.S. Public website. I don't know if it's still up anymore after what's been going on, but it used to be part of the CDC, and some of these organizations publish information. The NIH Genetic and Rare Diseases, also Stanford Emergency Medicine. These are videos of what taught at Stanford University that they gave us a copy of. Health Phone is actually a collection of videos that was done a number of years ago. Some of them are pretty dated. Some of those videos, the ones from India, are like 20 years old. But they're still relevant. They have a lot to do with childbirth and taking care of babies and things like that. It was
maternal health and stuff.
It was aimed at village level education, where people, for people who were even illiterate but had the ability to view a video on their feature phone, not even on a smartphone, but they could view a video on their feature phone. And so these videos were targeted at that kind of an environment.
At that level. So these could be used by healthcare workers to show to what the greater implications of some condition is to local people. Okay.
Yeah. And I don't know, there's quite a number of medicine and general health and medical materials that have been collected together here. This is Khan Academy, but only the medical videos out of it. Some TED-Med talks. There's actually an extract of the whole CDC website. It's a little old at this point.
But it's also one way of archiving everything, I think, as well.
Yeah, it is.
Some way.
So that's the medical. So those are several different curations of material that are used for different audiences. So now the question is, I want to do this. How do I do this?
Yeah.
And the answer is you go into the admin console or you just get one. So I guess the first thing you could do, if you're happy with the one that's sold by the Wikimedia store, which is, by the way, sold out, but you can there's an email link to get one. And we're trying to keep up with it. But, we're basically, we've actually hired a couple people now to fulfill that. So, because James Heilman was pretty much doing it himself. And as we're getting into, there'll probably be more than 1,000 this year. So it gets to be a little bit overwhelming. But anyway, even if you get that, you have some space left on it, or if you don't like what's on it, you can take off. And if you just start from scratch, you buy your own hardware, you get the base image from the Raspberry Pi Foundation, which is just the operating system. And then there's a command you can run that will install Internet in a Box on it. And after that, you can come into here and decide what actually would you like on there. So I tend to divide this up into two areas. One are, I called them services, but they're apps. So for example, if I come into the configuration, now I've moved to another machine now. I'm actually on a Raspberry Pi. Uh, so this is kind of what people would get. And you can see that that Kiwix is checked because we saw it. K-Lite is checked. Colibri is checked. Maps is checked. Calibre Web is checked. Jupyter Hub is not checked. Uh, I don't know if people know what that is. It's used a lot in the sciences, but not used that much. There is an Internet Archive, offline Internet Archive, which allows you to bring some things from the Internet Archive down. Sugarizer is left over from the One Laptop per Child days. That's actual operating system that ran on OLPC PCs. And then WordPress, MediaWiki, and Moodle, which is a very well-known and popular course management thing for schools. So any of those things you could put on. Here's Nextcloud has been checked, and the USB functionality doesn't have to be there. And I put this one on Mindtest. Mindtest is kind of a clone of Minecraft, so you can, but it's a free one. It's an open source one, so you can put Mindtest on here. And it's actually, for me, I love doing it with my grandkids. I find it extremely in creative mode, which is I put on. I don't want anybody getting killed or anything, but in creative mode, I find it a very educational tool. And then some wilder things that people have tried. What if Internet in a Box could be your email system? It's offline, but what if we had an email system that could then be transmitted somehow online? People have created a phone system, a PBX, over Internet in Box using Asterisk, which is a pretty well-known open source switchboard type thing. And then people want to know what's going on. So there are various monitors things. AW Stats I usually put on, which will show you statistics on what got used. And there's some VPN options so that if you need somebody to log in, assuming you are connected, maybe you're just getting started and you want to connect to the internet and let one of us go into your machine and look around and see what's going on if you're having a problem, we can actually do that. You have to turn it on. We can't. It's not a back door. We can't get in anytime we want. But if you turn it on, you can allow one of us to go in and have a look. Then, in addition to that, it is a hotspot, so you can do some things to the networking. You can, the hotspot name is Internet in a Box, but you can change it if you like. There I've just shown my password. Maybe not too smart, but you probably can't reach me, so not a big deal. So these are all the configuration things you can do. And once you've made any changes you want, you save that configuration, and then you click Install Configured Options, and it goes away and does a bunch of work, which can take time. And it reports all of that in the job status. This is more technical than most people want, but if you ever had to tell somebody what happened and figure it out, and it tells you what happened. This one succeeded, and it only took a minute. Up here you've got one that took a couple hours.
Okay.
So these can be lengthy. So anyway, now we have all the apps that we want, but we don't have a lot of content yet. So if we want to do content, the easiest thing to do is what I call a quick pick. And you can see here that there's a 128 gig curation for an English-speaking school. Here's a Spanish-speaking school. Here's a French-speaking school. Here's the English medical. And this starter edition is actually exactly what you would get if you bought it from the Wikimedia. So you can do this, and you will get all of the apps that are needed for it, all of the content that's needed for it. The menu will be set up for you, and basically it's ready to go. The only thing is it's more generic. So, maybe you don't want it exactly like that. So now if you would really like to do it yourself, you come down into getting zim files from Kiwix. And here you have all, right now we've only selected English, and you can see that there's a very long list of items available in English. And obviously English has the most because there's the most Wikipedia there. But
Yeah.
we're not stuck with English. Let's say that we want to take English off so we don't see so much of it, and we want to see Hindi. Well, oh, sorry, I didn't do what I was supposed to do. So now if I show content, I got English back on. But I should have, yeah. So here here's the Wikipedia in Hindi. And if you mouse over it, it will tell you the name of the file and a little bit of how many articles and things like that. So you know what you're getting. And over here, you'll see the size. So whatever this one is. Well, Hindi top maxi is 900 megs. The Hindi all is over a gig. So you can see, and it will help you out to put the content that you want, because it shows you how much space you've got left, and as soon as you click something, it shows you how much you just took of it. Yeah. So you can help manage, and it's gone orange because I'm starting to use up a bit of it. So this allows me in all of the languages, and there are lots. At the top we have I think the 6 most common languages in the world. So English, Spanish, French, Portuguese, Arabic, and Hindi. And then after that, we have, for example, Afrikaans. And, from Afrikaans down to, we get into Unicode, and then the order doesn't work very well because Unicode, Japanese might be at the bottom of the list in Unicode, but it's a J and Roman. So we give the name of the language in that language. So that's Japanese speech, and then we give it also in English to help select languages. So those are all ZIMs from Kiwix, and you can see that the ones that are in green are already installed, and the rest of these are all ones that I could select. But as I mentioned, there's other content which we call OER to go. Really came from Rachel. You can see that the African Storybook and this Beano, these things are already installed. But in addition to that, there are quite a few other things, and Hindi is still checked, so we're getting the Hindi Hindi list in here as well. There aren't so many, but you're getting the health phone videos, which are available in Hindi because they originally came from India. So that's if you want these other models, that's how you get them. So then I mentioned that we have right now the entire well, actually, we don't have the entire. I have the entire in low zoom, and if I just, let's say I just want Africa. Well, that only is 14 gigs instead of 80 gigs. So I could go and install high resolution for that.
Okay. Yeah, only.
So I know we're getting low on time. I'll say one more thing, and that is that the whole menu system is configurable. You can change all the prompts and everything on this. They're separate from the actual content. If you drag one of some other content from the list on the right over to the left, it'll appear on your menu once you save it. And then there's a few other things. Everybody always asks, well, what if I need to update it? Well, if I take my internet in the box to an internet cafe, then I can come into the control section, Wi-Fi control, and here it's actually showing me all of the hotspots that are available to me. These are my personal ones. If I clicked on that and put in the right password, I can connect to that. So now I'm in a cafe, and I now have the ability to use the admin console there and download new content, subject to how fast things are and stuff like that. Yeah. So
just a quick question then. Sorry, Tim, because obviously the SIMs of each of the kind of Wikipedias, and I'm sure it's the same with Khan Academy and the other ones, are kind of like stuck in on the day that they are offloaded from the internet. Yeah. So
That's right.
How often do you update those? So in some cases,
okay, but so okay, Kiwix theoretically, and it's not happening at the moment, goes and gets a new version every month.
Okay.
Of all of those, all the Wikimedia stuff. So when you do an install, you get their latest. We don't keep any of the content. We go straight to Kiwix. So you get their latest. So if theirs is older and large things like the English Wikipedia, it's hard to do every month. So you get the latest one that they did. So their latest scraping, the same. Some of these other things have only been scraped once. So yes, they are the original, and nobody has scraped them again. So you get a historical version. But for Zims, you get whatever the latest one Kiwix has. If you go, if you go into here, this list, they publish a catalog, and you can see here it says refresh Kiwix catalog. So you can go get the latest catalog, and now what appears in this list will be, for example, this one says March of 2025, which is actually interesting. But here's some that are from 24, so they weren't able to rebuild that. So yeah, that's what you're getting.
Okay,
so
wonderful.
We should definitely move to questions at this point. Because
I think the last questions, just in the interest of time, is just like, what have there been unexpected or unusual uses of use cases for the Internet in a Box? Like,
so the main one that just came up recently. There's a at the University of Buffalo. There's a project to archive languages that are not spoken by very many speakers and are potentially can become extinct, and of people who are in a refugee camp in Cameroon, and I think they have a couple languages that they're doing. So their process is basically that they shoot video of native speakers of those languages talking, or maybe involved in cultural events, dances, drama, whatever it is, and they record all that. And then the linguistics community has an application that allows you to annotate those videos. So maybe you want to talk about a grammar feature, or you just want to note something about that language in the context of that video. And so that becomes a separate file from the video. And so they upload, then I think they're using Nextcloud, they upload the videos that they shot, and they upload the annotations, so that then they can be shared with the people, with those native speakers who can look at that material, maybe use it. There might be younger members of their community that they would like to have, master those languages. So then that material is available online or offline in Internet in the Box, to be used by
the people
by the people themselves. But it's also then a starting point from which that material can be taken by the researchers and uploaded to places on the actual internet. But it gives a local place to view the that material for people who are there in those refugee camps.
Yeah, so that sounds a fantastic version, and I think
found it. I had no idea anybody was doing this, and so that was interesting to me. And one of the other people, Adam, you may know, built them some servers, but I helped them a little bit with organizing. We talked a little bit about how could we enhance Internet in a Box to make uploading the annotations easier and a better integration. So.
I mean, I think what's so many people feel that that offline solutions are very much read only, that they're only kind of consumption based, and the way that you know, how they are using it with video and uploading video, and then getting engagement from the community that created the things. I think that's a wonderful way of kind of like of building content without it being kind of like this being lost in the ether kind of thing.
I think our community has always had people in it who were very strong that education is by doing and not by looking. And so, you know, we have all the reference material that you would expect to have, but the things that are more interactive have been pushed in more by people who said, no, you gotta be able to do other stuff. Even the mind test. There's a guy in Hong Kong who's a psychologist, and he's very much on you got to do stuff. And he's the one who said, why don't you put mind test on there? And I have to play it with my grandkids, and so I said, okay, fine, I'll do that. And you know, so things learned by doing.
My son was very, very keen on Minecraft for ages.
It's an amazing game, and especially if you play. Everybody wants to play it in destructive mode, so they go zombies kill you and stuff like that. But I don't do that. I only do in creative mood. And I have sat here with 3 grandkids in my computer area, each on a different computer, and we're having a real world kind of conversation and interaction as one of them is destroying the thing that the another one of them built. So we're having a virtual and a real social interaction, which I find just amazing. And of course they outgrow it as they get older. Then they're not interested anymore. But there's a younger one coming on, and they play anywhere from from 3 to 7-year-olds, and even the 14-year-old will come back because he knows how it works sometimes. But
exactly, he can show how what
exactly, and he can do all the stuff. And
Tim, is there anything, we're about an hour in, is there anything that you wanted to share anymore with anyone?
Well, the links that we have
in the chat. So
there's a frequently asked questions, which is actually quite lengthy. There's a website that is internet hyphen in a box, with hyphens. And that one is a little long in the tooth, but it has a great video from the folks in Peru and some other material on it. Then there's on the MD Wiki website, there's an article on how to buy it there, and also the store at the Wikimedia, which will only tell you that they're out of stock and you should go to the other one. So, but just to see it, the last one is this YouTube, which is really humorous. It's about 2 minutes. One of the people in our community put it together. It's interesting. It says Wikimed video in Dominican Republic.
Oh, is that
well, I don't know if that's. I don't think that's what it is, but but maybe it is. There is that exists as well. Is it possible that I pasted in the wrong one? It is possible.
I'm not sure. Let me put this one on instead. Excuse that one if you don't end up in the Dominican Republic.
I mean, you absolutely can watch it. It's a great testimonial by a doctor on how, I mean, it's a little overdone, but it's a great testimony about how people solved real medical problems by having the reference material. They looked up drug doses and things like that, having internet in a box there for that. So it is a very nice video.
Okay, but this one is the one you were talking about, I think.
I think so.
Which is the
I mean, I don't know if Sam's video is on the hyphenated site or not, and I don't know if people want to go look at Calibri and Nextcloud.
I have put them in the chat, so people can
fine. Yeah, okay, that's great. Yeah, I see that.
Nextcloud and Calibri on the learning
excellent
side. So thank you, Tim. It's been an absolute pleasure to see all of the different kind of manifestations. I know that it's like a massive library that everybody can access, but sometimes the accessing of it can be a little bit daunting. But I think now people have a much better idea of how to do it, but also why to do it and where to get it from. So I think that's really helpful.
Yeah, you can start really simple, just prepackaged, and you can over time, as you work with people who actually use it and see what they need, go back and add.
Brilliant. All right, thank you. Hello, super wife. Thank you very much for having us today and for spending time with us.
Okay.
And enjoy the rest of your week. And we'll see you soon, hopefully.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me. And I always like to talk about Internet in a Box.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
WikiAfrica Hour is a production of Wiki in Africa that supports the development of the Wikimedia movement across Africa. We value your suggestions on social media for the topics you want to discuss. We look forward to your participation next month at the same time and on the same channel. Hit the subscribe button to stay open and up to date, and follow WikiAfrica on social media. See you at the next WikiAfrica Hour.